When working with different phases or periods of time in Revit, each period of time is going to display just a little bit differently. In this instance, we have a level 1 existing, and we can see that there's 3 walls here on the interior which are currently solid. If we look at level 1 demo, we'll see that those same walls are showing up as being dash lines. And in level 1 new, they don't display at all. Now, the reasoning behind this is in the properties of each one of these views, there's an option here called a phase filter. And based on the settings of the phase filter, you can affect the way that each one of these views will display. I'll also point out that there's an option here where you can pick show the demo and the new, show the new as well as the previous phase. So you can select on which items do you want to see in this particular view. Now, to get a better understanding of how these things display, we need to look underneath the Manage tab and then select on Phases. Through here, there are 2 tabs going across the top. One is Phase Filters and the other is Graphic Overrides. If we choose on Phase Filters, we'll see that we have a variety of new phase filters available here. I'll also want to point out that we can create new ones if we want to by selecting on New. It would populate down here, and then we could have those phase filters display any of these different categories of information, such as in a new phase, existing, or demolition, have those objects display a certain way. Right now, where it has Show Complete, it's done by category, which is basically the default way it should display. There's a setting called Overridden, which means those objects will display the way that it shows up here in the graphics overrides, because it's overridden. And then there's Not Displayed. If it says Not Displayed, it means that any object that is, in this case, existing, and it says Not Displayed, means that it will not be displayed if it's something that was already existing. So you can set those up through these phase filters here in the tab and either have them show up regularly, have them show with their overridden settings, or have them not display at all. That being said, if we go into the Graphics Overrides tab here, we can see what those different overrides are going to look like. In this example that we had actually in the demolition plan was that we had demolition, and anything that was demoed was going to be dashed and be kind of a dark line. And that's exactly the way that it displayed. And the reason is that in that specific phase, it was supposed to show up as being dashed and be a dark line. In this case, it was a plan view. It's these lines right here that we had underneath cut. Just to illustrate that point, if we change this from being this demolished with a dashed line to being some other kind of look, such as maybe the center 5/8, and maybe for the color, an unusual yellow color. I'll click on OK to that, click on OK to this. Now let's take a look at what it looks like underneath Demo. Right now we can see it's that center line and it's that yellow color. So in order to control the way that these display in each of the individual views, what you need to do is you can set up the appropriate phase filter, then underneath your Manage tab and Phases, and then Graphic Overrides, you can set up how each of these individual phases are going to display those kind of objects in the appropriate view.